Howdy y'all, I hope you guys are all doing well, I hope you guys are safe, and I hope you guys are healthy. Today's video, I'm bringing you a DIY. I know it's been quite a while since my last DIY, but I had a little bit of time on my hands, so I'll be able to plan this out, show you guys my process, and I hope you guys can replicate this if you want to. So today I'm bringing you basically how to make your own ground cover Suno bag or crossbody bag. I'll show you guys exactly what it's inspired by, and I'll show you guys the material that I'm working with. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Josh, and I like talking about clothes and personal style, and sometimes DIYs. So if that's your thing, feel free to stick around, like, comment, subscribe if you feel so inclined. And without further ado, let's get right into the process. Alright, so just to introduce you guys to the inspiration behind the actual bag itself. If you don't know who Avery Ginsberg is, he is a former fashion YouTuber that I absolutely loved when I was consuming content maybe a couple of years ago. He has since stopped making videos, unfortunately, but he has moved on to create his own brands, and one of those brands is Groundcover. Groundcover is a more eco-friendly brand that actually creates things out of more conscientious materials, as well as just one of the best aesthetics I've ever seen. So you may know Groundcover mostly by the boots that they created that are made of a pineapple leather, which I do own and I do have a review for on my channel. But one of the things that came with the actual boots and also was sold separately was called the Groundcover Suno bag. That bag is one of my favorite bags of all time. They're in practically, I would say, about half of all my fit pics that I have on my Instagram now. But the bag itself is right here. And it is simply just a crossbody bag that ties at the top. You can adjust the length of the actual straps by simply just tying it lower, and it is just essentially reminds me of just a burlap sack, and it looks really, really, really good. This bag also pairs extremely well with just about any outfit that I can think of. So what I had the idea for was maybe I could create my own based off of the Groundcover bag. Now, I'm not able to completely replicate exactly what the Groundcover bag is, but I could try my best, right? That's what all DIYs are. So I went to a thrift store, like a family-owned thrift store, and I was able to get this material right here. This is essentially, I don't really know what they're called, but like in a doorway, and they're like draped over a doorway and you pass through them. But anyway, it has this really cool graphic on here, and I figured that I could make a bag out of it, and specifically a Groundcover inspired bag, and I hope this turns out well. To list off a couple of things that you guys are going to need as far as doing this yourself, obviously you're going to need a sewing machine. I happen to use a Brother XR3340, which isn't really a special sewing machine, it's just a regular sewing machine that I actually got from Costco. So what else you'll need is some measuring tape. If you sew at all, this is absolutely vital. You'll also need a seam ripper in case you mess up some of the actual sewing. Obviously you'll need some fabric scissors. I'm using a white pencil because the material I'm working with is blue or an indigo. And yeah, so the piece of fabric that I showed you a little bit earlier is actually, I measured it out as 36 inches by 55 inches, or 91.5 centimeters by 139.7 centimeters. So if I were to kind of translate that into like maybe yardage, I would say for this bag, it is pretty safe to go with about 1.5 yards of fabric. Also, obviously, you're gonna need thread for your sewing machine as well. But I think that's generally all you'll really need, and the only type of stitch I'm going to be using is the absolute simplest of stitches, which is just a straight stitch using my quote-unquote quilting sewing machine. I was trying to figure out a way that I could show this to you guys the best possible way, and the only way I could possibly even like come up with a way to show this to you guys so that it makes a whole lot of sense and it's really easy to follow is actually go ahead and make a model of the bag itself. So you're gonna need 5 different pieces from the original piece of fabric that you have, one of which being kind of this general shape, this kind of U shape right here. And I did measurements as well. Measurements aren't going to be exact, obviously. They're going to be basic. I measured out the ground cover bag, took some general measurements, kind of assumed some measurements, and yeah, so hopefully this works out. I really hope this doesn't end up badly. But one thing to consider is you're definitely going to be sewing, and you're going to want the seams to always be on the inside. It's really easy to forget and really easy to mess that up. But keep in mind you want all the seams to be on one side so that when you turn it inside out, it can be exactly what it's going to be. Now, obviously you saw a graphic on that piece of fabric. I'm going to make it in a way so that the graphic isn't actually centered. It is just going to be like hints of that graphic throughout the bag. But yeah, so this kind of like 3D model is going to be what I'm going to be showing you guys. You're gonna need actually two pieces of this kind of U-shaped model. This is going to be basically the face and straps of the bag. Probably one of the most important pieces that you could have on this bag. So from the top to the bottom of this bag is going to be approximately 42 inches or 106.68 centimeters. The actual portion of the bag that holds things right here is actually going to be 16 inches or 40.64 centimeters. I don't know if you can kind of see my writing. I tend to write rather small, but it is rather sloppy. My apologies for that. So you'll need one for the front and one for the back. So 2 of these U-shaped pieces. The width of the entire bag, which is from here to here, is going to be approximately 18 inches, which is also 45.72 centimeters. And then obviously you're gonna see this really big U shape right over here. These make up the straps, and you tie them at the top. Up here you tie these 2 parts together and they become your opening for the bag. The bottom is going to be halfway through it, so the trough of the actual bend is going to be at the 9-inch mark. I tried to do some math. I'm not very good at math, to be honest with you, and I don't remember anything from algebra because it's been about, I don't know, half a decade since I took a math class, but I kind of just estimated and just made this U shape as natural as I possibly could. At the bottom here, you're gonna need a base to your bag, just so that the bag isn't too skinny at the bottom and it kind of looks weird. I'd rather have it be have a little bit of like a rectangular piece at the bottom to kind of make the actual bottom of the bag. Now this part is going to be 18 inches, just like the size of the other bag, as well as 5 inches down on the sides here, which is 12.7 centimeters. You'll just need one piece of that rectangular piece, and then the last 2 pieces that you're going to need is going to be triangular pieces, and that's going to be on the side here. And for the triangle that's on the side, 5 inches from here to here, and then from the top of the triangle down to the base here is going to be 16 inches. Now, I did a little bit of math. This is the first time that I've ever used the Pythagorean theorem outside of class, but what is considered the hypotenuse, or the diagonal line over here, is going to be 16.76 inches, which I just rounded up to 17 inches. Once you have all these pieces cut out, the next step is to then start sewing and sew everything together. So going over a little bit of exactly where you're going to sew is you're going to sew anywhere that there's a corner on this model. So what I sewed together first was actually this U piece to the bottom here, and then attach that to the other U piece so that it's one very long piece of fabric. And then after that, I sewed the triangles to the bottom piece, and then from there, the triangle to the side of the U. So right here, and I did all sides. And then from there, then I connected the straps the rest of the way up here so that they can tie together at the top. I hope that makes sense. If you guys want to do this yourself, time to start this whole process. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed about this one. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I don't know if you could see it well enough, but I have marked exactly where I need to make cuts on the actual fabric itself. I'm really excited for this one. Obviously, rule of thumb, you're gonna wanna keep a little bit of extra space for seam allowance, but you end up learning that if you know how to sew, you end up kind of just considering that automatically, just so that you don't make proportions that are a little too small for your bag. But let me get cutting into this. Let me just put it all together and fingers crossed. Let's go. I also forgot to mention, you're also going to need quite a bit of pins to keep everything in place. So, as I'm going through this, I'm noticing that there's a whole lot of loose threads, especially on the raw hem areas. So, what I did was I took that and then I folded it over once, pinned it down, and so basically, less chance of seams coming loose. Just wanted to add that extra little detail. Right. So after about 3 hours of me just like going at it and sewing and using the seam ripper to like take out seams that I may have messed up, I ended up with a bag that I'm actually really proud of. So just to show you guys the original real quick, this is the ground cover Suno bag. Fits around me right about here. Looks really good. Put it to the side, looks like that. But yeah, the original Suno bag. Now here is my bag. Boom. This indigo, beautiful with like the pattern on one strap. Oh my goodness, am I so pleased. And the way it fits around me is like this. What do you guys think? I am so very proud of this. I think it actually looks amazing. And it serves the exact same purpose as the ground cover bag. It can hold just about as much as the original. What do you guys think? I absolutely love it. I'm super excited for it, and honestly, this only kind of makes me hyped to make more DIY videos. So, what do you guys think? Throw in the comments down below or DM me. Oh my God. I'm so glad I didn't mess up on this because that was the only patch of fabric that I had of that left. Like, comment, subscribe, do what you do. I appreciate your guys' time, and yeah, until the next one, I'll see you guys later.